Most people think apple cider vinegar is either a miracle cure or complete nonsense. Both groups are wrong, and here's why that matters. The real story about what apple cider vinegar does inside your body is more interesting than the hype. It's also more useful than the skeptics admit. If you've ever wondered whether this stuff actually works, or if you've tried it and gotten zero results, I'm going to show you exactly what's happening at the cellular level. No exaggeration, no marketing, just the biology, because when you understand the mechanism, you'll know exactly when it helps and when it's pointless. Here's what almost nobody understands. Apple cider vinegar isn't a fat burner. It's not a detox drink. It doesn't melt calories or reset your metabolism. So what does it actually do? And why do some people swear by it while others see zero results? Apple cider vinegar is a metabolic signal. It changes how your body processes sugar after you eat. The main compound is acetic acid. That's the sour-tasting stuff. When you take acetic acid before a meal, it slows gastric emptying. Your stomach releases food into your intestines more slowly, sugar gets absorbed gradually instead of spiking fast. Blood sugar rises at a gentler pace. Insulin doesn't have to surge. But here's what most people miss. It's not just about how high your blood sugar goes, it's about how fast it rises, and that speed determines everything that happens next. Why does speed matter more than the actual number? What's happening inside your cells when blood sugar spikes fast versus slow? Every time you eat, glucose enters your bloodstream. Your pancreas detects this. It releases insulin. Insulin pushes glucose into cells for energy or storage. This system works perfectly when blood sugar rises gradually. But when blood sugar spikes fast, insulin has to surge. Therefore, your cells get flooded, so over time, they start ignoring insulin. That's insulin resistance. Here's the chain reaction. High. Insulin blocks fat burning. It promotes fat storage. It increases inflammation. It creates cravings. It damages blood vessels. Day after day, this leads to energy crashes, brain fog, constant hunger, fatty liver, and eventually type 2 diabetes. Now that you understand why speed matters, here's the exact mechanism apple cider vinegar uses to slow things down. Studies show something specific happens when you consume vinegar before a carb-heavy meal. What's the measured difference? Research shows vinegar can reduce the blood sugar spike by 20 to 30%. That might not sound dramatic, but over months and years, that difference compounds. Therefore, smaller insulin spikes mean less insulin resistance, so your body stays better at switching between burning sugar and burning fat. This is metabolic flexibility. Your cells can handle glucose without getting overwhelmed, insulin doesn't have to work as hard, your pancreas gets a break. But blood sugar is just the beginning. Something else happens in your liver when insulin stays chronically elevated. What's the hidden process most people never hear about? Your liver is your metabolic control center. When insulin levels stay high all day, your liver converts excess glucose into fat. This fat gets stored in the liver itself. That's called fatty liver disease. It's becoming epidemic. When apple cider vinegar helps keep insulin lower, your liver has less reason to make and store fat. Studies in people with fatty liver show improvements after consistent vinegar use, not dramatic reversals, but measurable reductions in liver enzymes and fat content. Here's where it gets interesting. There's a second effect beyond blood sugar, one that affects how hungry you feel between meals. Acetic acid seems to increase feelings of fullness. Some research suggests it slows ghrelin release. Ghrelin is your hunger hormone. When ghrelin stays lower, you feel satisfied longer. You're less likely to snack between meals, less likely to overeat at the next meal. This isn't appetite suppression in a dangerous way. It's your body responding to slower, steadier digestion. Quick question. Have you ever tried apple cider vinegar? Did it work for you or do nothing? Drop a comment and let me know. I read every single one and I'm curious what your experience has been. But here's where most people sabotage themselves. They make one critical mistake that either causes damage or makes the whole thing useless. What's the error? Some people drink it straight, undiluted. That's a terrible idea. Undiluted vinegar is highly acidic. It can damage your tooth enamel, erode the enamel right off your teeth over time, it can burn your throat, irritate your esophagus. Others think more is better. They take multiple tablespoons at once. That can cause nausea, stomach pain, even low potassium levels if you overdo it chronically. So if drinking it straight is dangerous and too much causes problems, what's the correct way? Is there a specific dose and timing that actually works? Here's the correct protocol. 1 to 2 teaspoons in a full glass of water. That's it. Drink it through a straw if you're worried about your teeth. Rinse your mouth with plain water afterward. The timing matters most. Take it 10 to 15 minutes before a meal that contains carbs. Not all day long. Not multiple times back to back. Once or twice a day maximum. The effect is specific to meals. Specifically, meals containing carbohydrates. If you're eating steak and vegetables with no bread or rice, apple cider vinegar won't do much. There's minimal sugar to slow down. But if you're eating pasta, bread, rice, or potatoes, that's when timing matters. Now that you know the correct way to use it, here's who should never use it at all. Despite the benefits, there are specific people who can make things worse with apple cider vinegar. What conditions create danger instead of help? If you have gastroparesis, don't use this. That's a condition where your stomach empties too slowly. Apple cider vinegar will make it worse. Slowing gastric emptying further can cause severe discomfort. If you have active stomach ulcers, the acidity can irritate the lining. If you're on medication for diabetes, combining apple cider vinegar with blood sugar. Lowering drugs can drop your blood sugar too low. That's dangerous. If you have chronic kidney disease, the extra acid load might be problematic. And if you simply hate the taste, or it bothers your stomach, don't force it. But what about the claims you hear everywhere? Does it boost metabolism? Does it alkalize your body? Does it cause dramatic weight loss? Let me be clear, it does not boost metabolism in any significant way. There's one small study suggesting a slight increase in fat oxidation, but the effect was minimal. Not enough to call it a metabolism booster. It does not alkalize your body. Your kidneys and lungs regulate blood pH automatically. You're not going to meaningfully change pH with food. As for weight loss, studies show modest results. We're talking 2 to 4 pounds over 12 weeks. Not dramatic. The weight loss likely comes from better blood sugar control, reduced insulin, less fat storage, and slightly increased satiety. If you're learning something new here, make sure you're subscribed. I break down health topics like this every week. Evidence-based, no hype, just what actually works and why. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. So how do you actually use this in real life? When does it make practical sense versus when is it pointless? Let's say you're going to eat a meal you know will spike your blood sugar. Maybe it's a birthday party, pizza night, a holiday meal. Taking apple cider vinegar beforehand won't cancel out the carbs, but it will blunt the spike. Your blood sugar will rise slower, insulin won't surge as high, you'll feel more stable afterward. Less crash, less brain fog. Or let's say you're working on reversing insulin resistance. You're eating better, moving more. Adding apple cider vinegar before carb-heavy meals gives you an extra edge. It's not required, but it helps. Combined with other good habits, it accelerates improvement. But here's what determines whether you'll notice anything or not. What separates people who see results from those who don't? Your starting point matters. If you already have excellent blood sugar control, you won't notice much. If you eat very low carb, there's minimal effect. But if you're insulin resistant, eating carbs regularly, and struggling with energy crashes, that's when the difference shows up. Some people see results in days. They notice better energy, less afternoon slump, fewer cravings. Others take weeks to notice anything. Individual variation is huge. Now that you understand the practical application, here's the principle that makes this actually useful long term. Beyond apple cider vinegar itself, there's a bigger lesson here. What's the real takeaway that applies to everything about metabolic health? Small interventions done consistently create big results over time. Reducing your post-meal blood sugar by 20% doesn't sound life-changing. But do that twice a day for a year. Your pancreas gets a break, your insulin sensitivity improves, your liver stores less fat, your energy stabilizes, your cravings decrease, your risk of diabetes drops. Small changes compound. That's the power of understanding mechanisms instead of chasing hype. And here's what this reveals about health in general. What's more powerful than any single supplement or tool? Blood sugar stability affects everything. Your energy, your hunger, your mood, your sleep, your hormones, your risk of chronic disease. When blood sugar swings wildly, insulin follows. High insulin blocks fat burning, promotes fat storage, increases inflammation, disrupts other hormones, creates cravings, damages blood vessels over time. Keeping blood sugar stable is one of the most powerful things you can do for long-term health. Apple cider vinegar is one tool for that. Not the only tool, not even the best tool, but it's simple, cheap, easy to access, and the science backs it up. So here's the ultimate truth about whether you actually need this. Is apple cider vinegar required for health? Will you fail without it, or is there something more important? You do not need apple cider vinegar to be healthy. You can achieve excellent blood sugar control through diet, exercise, sleep, and stress management. Apple cider vinegar is an optional add-on, a small enhancement. If you hate the taste, skip it. Focus on the fundamentals. Eat real food, move your body, sleep enough, manage stress. Those matter infinitely more than vinegar. But if you don't mind the taste and want an extra tool, it's backed by solid science. So what's the real power here? What makes this worth understanding even if you never use it? The real power is understanding mechanisms. Apple cider vinegar works through basic physiology. Acetic acid slows digestion. Slower digestion means gradual sugar absorption. Gradual absorption means lower insulin. Lower insulin means better metabolic health. No magic, no miracles, just chemistry. And when you understand the chemistry, you can use it strategically. Before carb-heavy meals, diluted properly, consistently over time, that's when it helps. So what does this mean for you? How should you think about apple cider vinegar now that you know the truth? It's not a cure-all, it's not useless either. It's a simple, cheap tool for blood sugar management that works through a well-understood mechanism. Use it correctly or don't use it at all. But don't fall for the hype, and don't dismiss it just because it's trendy. The science stands on its own. Your job is to decide if it fits your life and your goals. That's the real power. Understanding what works, why it works, and how to apply it. When you understand mechanisms, instead of following trends, you stop being a victim of marketing. You become someone who makes informed decisions based on biology. If this changed how you think about apple cider vinegar, do me a favor. Share this with someone who thinks it's either magic or useless. The truth lives in the middle. Hit that like button if you learned something new. Subscribe so you catch the next breakdown. And drop a comment telling me what health topic you want me to tackle next. I read every single one. Make it a great day.